Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Angeline Wanjeri. If you're new to this channel, hello. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on your post notifications so that you can get notified anytime I drop a video like I am doing right here, right now today for all of you guys. Now, in today's episode of My Take, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on self-control, and kama kawaida, I'm going to begin with a quote. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Now, countries, cities have walls and borders for a reason, to protect them from all sorts of attacks. But once those walls or borders are broken through, are destroyed, what happens? That city, that country is open to all sorts of attacks. So is a person who lacks self-control. They open up themselves to all sorts of attacks from people who have ill intentions and even from the devil himself. Just this past week alone, we have witnessed the consequences of having no self-control. Self-control is like a wall of defense and protection. And without it, many great men and women have fallen. Epstein's list is an example of this. When you have no control over self, you allow other people to control you. You allow their actions to control you. You allow the environment you're in to control you. You allow the pleasures of this world to control you. You allow your own mind and body to have control over you. The reason why Epstein was able to do what he had done for so long was because he managed to establish control over the people that lacked self-control. Now, how did he do this? Number one, he identified the weaknesses. He identified the weaknesses of these rich, powerful, and famous people. In this instance, the weakness was sex. So he identified their weaknesses. And then number two, he provided a service for them using underage girls on his island. Now, how did he exercise his control? How did he establish control? Now, I know your dirty little secret. I know what you were doing on my island. So if I go down, you go down with me. So these rich and powerful and famous people had no other option but to cover for him and protect him at all costs. Because by protecting Epstein, they were protecting their dirty little secret. But we all know how these things work out. The truth always comes out. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it may not be next year, it may be 5-10 years from now, but the truth always comes out. The Epstein scandal aside, so many powerful people, men and women, have fallen from grace because of a lack of self-control. Let's take a look at Chris Brown. Till this day, he will forever be linked to that incident where he beat Rihanna to a pulp. Till this day, there are so many things that Chris Brown will never be able to accomplish because of that one incident. He lacked self-control. He let his feelings and his emotions get the best of him. R. Kelly. The downfall of R. Kelly has been documented. This guy was a legend in the music world. His addiction, underage girls. He lacked self-control. He was not in control of his sexual desires. Lamar Odom, one of the greatest in the NBA world. Then what happened? He nearly died, overdose. His addiction, drugs, women, sex. Look at him now. Yes, he's alive and he's living, but he's no longer the great man that he once was. Kanye West. The downfall of Kanye West. His vice, his tongue. His inability to control what he says. He has destroyed reputations. He has destroyed businesses that he built just because he is unable to control his tongue and his emotions. Will Smith, one of the greatest to ever do it, but till the day he dies, he will forever be linked to that incident where he slapped Chris Brown in a moment of anger. Self-control, a lack of self-control. Whitney Houston, drugs. Amy Winehouse, drugs. So many great women and men fallen because of lacking self-control, giving in to the worldly pleasures, giving in to the demands of their bodies and their minds. The West have come up with fancy phrases and statements to use to describe a lack of self-control where women and sex are concerned. They will use phrases and statements like a woman in tune with her own body, a woman owning her sexuality. But all this couldn't be further from the truth. All that is fiction. Now let me give you the facts. There's nothing empowering about a woman having sex with multiple men. There is nothing empowering about a woman pleasuring herself with all sorts of toys. There's nothing empowering about a woman participating in orgies. There's nothing empowering about that. There's nothing empowering about a wife agreeing to swap sexual partners. There's nothing empowering about that. And this applies to the men too. As society, we have let men get away with so much when it comes to sex, when it comes to relationships. We boil down their lack of self-control to, it's a man thing. It's a natural thing. All men cheat. Don't expect anything more from a man. But it is a lack of self-control. No man is fit to command another that cannot control himself. How can a man be a leader if he can't even be in control of his own mind and body? How can he lead others? It is lack of self-control. There's nothing empowering about it. There's nothing natural about it. And there's nothing right about it either. So to my dear women, partaking in these sexual fantasies and desires, do not portray a woman in tune with her body, or a woman owning her sexuality, or a woman in control of her body. This portrays a woman whose body is in control of them. One must be able to control their mind, or it will be filled with all kinds of thoughts. One must be able to control their body, or they will give in to every harmful desire. One must be able to control their feelings and emotions, or they will forever be in the control of others, their actions, and the environment that they're in. One must be able to control their tongue, or they will forever wreak havoc everywhere they go. In James chapter 3, verse 6 to 12, it says, I'm going to read this. It says, "The tongue also is a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire, and is itself set on fire by hell. All kinds of animals, birds, reptiles, and sea creatures are being tamed and have been tamed by mankind, but no human being can tame the tongue. It is a restless evil full of deadly poison. With the tongue, we praise our Lord and Father, and with it we curse human beings who have been made in God's likeness. Out of the same mouth come praise and cursing. My brothers and sisters, this should not be. Can both fresh water and salt water flow from the same spring? My brothers and sisters, can a fig tree bear olives or a grapevine bear figs? Neither can a salt spring produce fresh water." So in short, I'm going to continue reading the explanation. It says, what you say and what you don't say are both important. Proper speech is not only saying the right words at the right time, but is also controlling your desire to say what you shouldn't. Examples of an untamed tongue include gossiping, putting others down, bragging, manipulating, false teaching, exaggerating, complaining, flattering, and lying. Before you speak, ask, is what I want to say true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? James compares the damage the tongue can do to a raging fire. The tongue's wickedness has its source in hell itself. The uncontrolled tongue can do terrible damage. Satan uses the tongue to divide people and pit them against one another. Idle and hateful words are damaging because they spread distraction quickly, and no one can stop the results once they are spoken. We dare not be careless with what we say, thinking we can apologize later, because even if we do, the scars remain. A few words spoken in anger can destroy a relationship that took years to build. Before you speak, remember that words are like fire. You can neither control nor reverse the damage that they can do. As human beings, we all know what our weaknesses are. We all know the things that are good for us, and we know the things that are harmful to us. So does God, and so does the devil. We should seek God's help in overcoming our weaknesses, or the devil will exploit them. Like I said at the beginning, a lack of self-control is like a city without its walls. You're leaving yourself open to all sorts of attacks and influence from the devil. Now, I'm going to use an example of men that are mcheled at bars. Do you think these women target just anybody? No. These women scope out their environment, check out these men, and once they spot a weakness, they pounce on it. And that's exactly how the devil does it. So these women will spot a man that is maybe unable to control his liquor. Yani anakunywa, analewa, anaanguka. So they spot that weakness, and what will they do? They will ply this man with alcohol, drug him, and then do whatever it is they want to him or with him. Some men have ended up dead. Lack of self-control. You're opening up yourself to attacks and influence from people with ill intentions. The story that is currently trending, and every parent, I'm sure, is having this conversation with their daughter. My own father called me to warn me against, associating myself with certain types of people, being careful about the people that you're calling friends, not letting just anybody into your home. The story of Starlet Wahoo is a story that has shocked the whole entire nation. John Matara, the alleged suspect. Now I'm going to focus on John Matara. What was his weakness? What is his weakness? From the story and everything that we've read, his weakness is money. He has no self-control where money is concerned. Everything he has done has been for money. He has held women hostage. He has attacked women. He has recorded women doing sexual acts as a way of threatening them into silence, all for money. Lack of self-control. That is how, and that is where the devil gets you. That is how people with ill intentions will get you. Lack of self-control. So I'm going to wind up by saying that self-control is a form of self-love and self-respect. Loving yourself and respecting yourself enough to stay away from anything that compromises your morals, your beliefs, your values, your worth, your integrity as a human being. It all begins with you first identifying what your weaknesses are, and then coming before God and asking for His help in conquering those weaknesses, because there are some weaknesses that can't be conquered through human strength alone. We need the divine intervention from God. So come before Him, ask Him for help, and ask Him for protection to protect you from the devil who would only seek to exploit those weaknesses. Alright guys, so I can't leave you without a few Bible verses kama kawaida. So I'm going to begin with Philippians chapter 4 verse 13. Philippians chapter 4 verse 13, because it ties in with what I was saying towards the end. Philippians chapter 4 verse 13, and it says, I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. And it ties in with what I was saying towards the end. all your weaknesses, whatever your issues are, whatever your addictions are, come before God and ask for his help. Seek his counsel, seek his wisdom, seek his power, seek his protection. Come before God. There is nothing that God cannot help you deal with, can help you carry, can help you remove from your life. There is nothing that God cannot do. As long as it is righteous, it is beneficial to you, there is nothing that God cannot and will not do for you. So come before him and seek his help, seek his guidance. And then the next one that I had already read earlier is James chapter 3 verse 6 to 12. Please go and read it again and again and again. It speaks of power over tongue, the power of the tongue. James chapter 3 verse 6 to 12. I'd read it earlier for you guys. Please go and read it again and please mark it. Please always remember it before you speak, before you say something. Ask yourself, is it worth me saying this? Am I going to hurt somebody by saying this? Am I going to malign somebody by saying this? Is what I am speaking truth? Is it, or will I be lying? Think before you speak. James chapter 3 verse 6 to 12. And then the last one that I'm going to read from is the quote that I actually began with, Proverbs chapter 25 verse 28. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person who lacks self-control. Like a city whose walls are broken through is a person that lacks self-control. And when you read the explanation behind it, it says, even though city walls restricted the inhabitants' movements, people were happy to have them. Without walls, they would have been vulnerable to attack by any passing group of marauders. I don't know how to pronounce the word, but anyway, people with ill intentions. I'll just put it like that. Self-control limits us, to be sure, but it is necessary. An out-of-control life is open to all sorts of enemy attack. Think of self-control as wall for defense and protection. That is Proverbs chapter 25 verse 28. So please take note of these verses and please read them at your own leisure. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching this video till the end. Hopefully this conversation has been informative and you enjoyed listening to it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section. And I guess I will see you next week. Bye, guys. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I always forget to say this. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please make sure you do. Bye, guys.